apply into the jobs we do. Apply it into the job we do, then apply into new jobs that we want to go into as cybersecurity professional. So I'll be sharing my screen so we could just move at I'll say a bit of faster pace today because we have more to cover today, but nothing to worry about. If at any point in time you feel I'm moving too fast, please feel free to drop a chat. I'm looking at the chat on another screen. Feel free to drop a chat and or you don't understand anything, just feel free to just call me. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be re-sharing the file now. I'll just putting it in the chat now, just a second. Yeah, so yesterday we did an overview of what I would say what cybersecurity is, type of I'd say incidents, type of words we should be familiar with, denial of service of service attack, and again we spend more time on phishing. So today would be moving a bit further. Just so this was where we stopped yesterday, where we spoke about denial of server. Salami attack is simply when you collect information in small bits over a long period of time. So you collect a bit today, a bit tomorrow, a bit next tomorrow. So, but in the bigger picture, when all these are accumulated, when all these are put together in one instance, it all gives I would say it all gives us sophisticated information, or we get tend to get sophisticated data out of it. So data dangling. Also, we have email spoofing. So email spoofing is you trying to use an email close to another one. So it's just deceiving someone. So for instance, if let's say I just want to pick someone. So if Dolapo's email address is dolapoakinola at yahoo.com and I want to spoof Dolapo's email address, I could also do it as dolapoakinola at yahoo.com, but with a double O, or instead of me using I, where I is in a surname, I could use L, or using I where L is. So again, it's easy for people to misuse it. And there are some certain words and certain alphabets we don't use and I'll say we often tend not to use them in cybersecurity because it could lead to misunderstanding. So one of them is number one, I, L. So these words could be misinterpreted for each other. So we tend to, I say, you tend to not make use of them very, very often, or just avoid them because it's not easily, I'll say, distinguishable, especially when one is in the lower case or when it's in the upper case. So that's simply what email spoofing is. So email spoofing could be used to get I'll say details or anything from a legitimate person because the person receiving the email might feel he's talking to a trusted party, not knowing that the email has been spoofed. So yeah, today spent the time on social engineering and we all reviewed what social engineering is and see how different form of social engineering, get impersonation, dumpster driving, and evil twin. So again, social engineering goes way, way beyond the regular email scam being sent. So that's just the phishing part of social engineering. Again, social engineering is still the leading cause of cyber breach and cyber attack worldwide. So again, in anywhere we go or any place we go, we should be aware of social engineering, look into the organization, see how I would say we can improve the social engineering I would say way. So another form of or way of looking at social engineering is has anyone worked in a data center or worked anywhere that has large computers or many computers? Anyone? Okay, so another okay, yes, so SAP. So again, another kind of social engineering that has to do with workplace has to do with the design of the workplace. So how do we design our workplace? Do we make it easily accessible for people? So for instance, you walk into SAP's office, all the computers are connected, but the switch over or the changeover switch or the circuit breaker is being open, or anyone can access the circuit breaker. So again, if I'll say if the opportunity is not there, the right time is not there, and the avenue is not there, a lot of say phishing attacks or social engineering activities will not take place. But if we don't put measures in place, so if anyone can walk into your organization, see a switch, click on it, doesn't even know what the switch does, that's another part of I'll say social engineering by design. So we'll be moving on to today's topic, which is just a continuation of yesterday's slides, but I just added a bit more into it. So yeah, we are going to look at some, I would say, some key definitions in cybersecurity. So as we go along, we don't tend to, I would say, mix them up together. So threat in cybersecurity is anything that can cause potential damage. So a threat is anything that can cause potential damage. So again, if something can't cause damage, then it's not a threat. So, but for a threat to happen, there must be a vulnerability. So, can everyone hear me? Is everyone with me? Okay, yes, sir. So, for a threat to happen, there must be a vulnerability. So, a vulnerability is simply a weak point. So, if there's no weak point, there's no threat. So, for instance, my if my car does not use petrol, my car does not use anything. I drive a bicycle, for instance. The threat to fire there is very, very minimal compared with Paul that drives a car. So again, threat has to do with the I'll say the condition and things associated with the particular. Let me just use device environment in this case. So something might be a threat to Dolapo, but might not necessarily be a threat to Paul. So threat varies. Threat varies on the landscape. Threat varies on the environment. Threat varies on the I would say again on the kind of association that is being used. So distributed denial of service is mostly called DDoS. So DDoS is simply overwhelming the server traffic from multiple sources. So when, for instance, we're trying to everyone is trying to access, let's use Facebook as an instance. So Facebook is not going to witness DDoS attack because they've kept in lots of, I'll say, precautious method, and they have a very, very big server. So let's look at a small establishment. We could see, has anyone witnessed when a small company is doing sales and everyone tries to log in at once, you just see that you can't log in. Only few people can log in. Or when an examination, for instance, for those in Nigeria, when JAMB result is out or you need to register for your pool card, everyone's going to that website at the same time. So because everyone's going to the website at the same time, the traffic is going there. A DDoS attack happens. So a DDoS could be malicious. A DDoS could also not be malicious. So if there's high traffic, so there's a thin line between high traffic and something being a DDoS attack. So for every DDoS attack, every company, every organization, a policy or a template or I use a limit is being set. So for a company now, complaint A, so Paul's complaint could say, if we see 50 attempts from certain IPs, that's a DDoS attack. And Samsung's company could say if you see 150 from that company, from those set of IPs, that's a DDoS attack. So DDoS attacks so have to do with the appetite of the company and how and what kind of infrastructure they are using, what kind of services they are providing. So if it's a financial service now, a financial service will not be easily hit by DDoS because they are made or they are proved to respond to lots of customers at the same time So it's just the same case of when you go to, let's say, like a bakery early in the morning to get bread. Everyone is there. So the bakery is trying to, I'll say, feed everyone or supply everyone at the same time. So you have to, sometimes you have to wait for them to like rebake a bread and just give it to you. So you see a queue. But again, if you go to that same bakery in the afternoon or in the evening, there's no one there. You just have direct access to the bakery. So that's simply how distributed denial of service work and when there's no distributed denial of service. So denial of service It's when I would say when there's a single source that causes the denial. So you go into the I'll say the bakery, you ask for 3,000 loaves of bread. It's just only you there at the moment. It's just only you there at the moment, but the demand, the request you place is outweighs what they can produce and how they can produce it. So if it's just me and Paul there, and Paul is like, oh, why are they not attending to me? But again, I just requested for 3,000 loaves of bread. So I've denied Paul a service he can. But again, if it's 10 of us there and we requested for one loaf of bread each, it's not a denial of service because it's easy for them to fulfill every order. Do we all understand those two concepts?
No.
So which of the concept don't you understand?
Can you explain it a little bit more?
Okay,
The denier. The denier.
So denial simply means denial is from one, I'll say denial is one person or one source. Distributed denial is multiple source. So let's say 20 people go to get bread from a bakery. The first person says he wants 10, the second person says he wants 10, third person says he wants 10. So 10 of them says they want 10. So that makes it 100 bread. And the bakery can only produce, let's say, 30 bread per hour. So the 11th person would have to wait. So that means the service being distributed among these 10 people is denying the 11th person. But again, if we go back to that same bakery and only you now request for 100 loaves of bread, the second person there would have to wait till all your orders are fulfilled. So that means you did a denial of service. So all this is just simply when we take it to the server level, how many traffics are being sent from one person, how many traffic are being sent from multiple people. So it's just making the service unavailable to people that are legitimate users or people that normally would use the service, but because there's an ongoing request that's overwhelming the resource, it's not letting them use it. Does that explain it, or do anyone need more explanation? Are we all clear on that?
Yes.
Okay, I just need one more yes to know we are all clear on that, please. Okay, thank you. So zero-day attack is about, say, exploiting unknown vulnerabilities before they are being patched. So the heartbleed bug. So that the heartbleed bug is, I'll say, is an example of zero-day attack that exploited the open SSL. So these are, I'll say, more anything. Open SSL is, I'll say, software-based. So it's exploiting unknown vulnerabilities. So any unknown vulnerabilities is things that you didn't know that happened. So if a vulnerability is unknown, is there a threat to the system? It's an open question. Anyone?
Please, I'm in the car. Can you come back with it?
If a vulnerability is unknown, is there a threat to the system? So you know that nothing can happen to this person, or we've not seen this kind of thing before. Is there going to be a threat? I think it's a threat.
It's a threat.
The threat, yeah.
Or it's a new one.
It's a new one, so that's why it's called zero-day attack. So, but if it has happened before numerous times, then we can now say, oh, yes, we know this vulnerability and we know the threat associated with it. But if it's not happened before, it's a zero-day attack. So a threat is something that we know the vulnerability, we know the weak point, and we know what can attack it or what can go against the weak point. So that's the, I'll say that's the difference between I'll say zero-day attack and a threat. So we'll be moving on. Spoofing. Spoofing is just like we explained before, just pretending to be something else. So pretending to be someone else or pretending to be another person's ID or using another person's IP address or something like that. So that's spoofing. So it's I'd say it's one of the common use or common cause of DDoS. On the path, so man in the middle, it was previously called MIM, so man in the middle. Now it's called on the path attack. So on the path attack simply means intercepting or altering communications between two parties. So in layman terms, on the path attack or man in the middle attack is simply a middleman. So you are carrying out two transactions. The middleman takes from this person and gives to this person, receives from this person and gives to this person. But the thing now with the middleman is you don't know what he added or what he removed from the process. So you want to buy a piece of computer, you didn't go to the company direct, you went to, for instance, you went to Amazon to buy a piece of computer, and I'm sure Amazon is not going to sell the computer to you the same price they bought it from HP. Let's, for instance, HP. So in that case, Amazon is a middleman. Amazon is adding a bit of money on it, that's their profit, and selling it to you. Meanwhile, HP is not being bothered about who the end customer is. But in communication, man in the middle is someone that sits in the middle. Two of you are not aware. That's the source is not aware, the destination is not aware. It's just at the middle. It catches the packet or anything being sent. It looks at it if it can get say any good details or any bank. Mostly they're easy to get bank details and bank pins. So it checks to see if there's any valuable information there. So if there is, so for instance, a typical case of man in the middle is Olariwaju wants to buy a phone from Emmanuel. So Emmanuel sends I say a payment quote to Olariwaju that, oh, this phone, this iPhone 5 is £100. But because I'm at the middle, I see it, I change the £100 to £200 and send to Olariwaju. But Olariwaju thinks it's coming from Emmanuel, and Emmanuel thinks nobody that the message got to Olariwaju. Olariwaju processed the payment of £200. It passes back through by me. I remove my £100 and give Emmanuel his £100. And then Emmanuel sends the phone to Olariwaju. So in a very successful man in the middle attack, both parties, that's the source person and the destination is going to, will not know they've been attacked and would not verify that there's little way for them to say, oh, what did you say? What did you say? Or is this actually true or is this not true? So do we understand those basic concepts? Ah, cool, cool. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so we'll be moving on to the next slide. So I'm very sure everyone has the slide now. So if there's anyone you feel you want further explanation on, just I'll say just asterisk it or just make a note of it. So when we get to I'll say the question time, we can all discuss it further. So again, on more attack is brute force attack. So brute force attack is trying all possible combination to crack a password or encryption. So brute force is, imagine you give someone else your phone and the person say, I think I can guess Kaka's password. And it tries to start putting different things into the password. So that's a brute force attack. A brute force attack is the person has no idea what your password is. It's just trying all combinations to see if it's going to work. But again, when we put brute force attack on I'll say on a much larger level and with tools that are available now. So let me just try and bring one tool out. Just hold on. So John the Ripper, it's a very, I would say, it's a very strong tool that could be used to brute force password. So yeah, we'll go into that in a bit, but I've just sent it to the chat so everyone can just have a look at how John the Ripper looks like, and would when we get into the lab section, we'll make use of John the Ripper. So dictionary attack is using a list of common words to get someone password. Can someone give me like 5 common words that you know people might use as password in the chat, please? 5 common things or words people might use as password, or devices set as password. Yes, 000, DOB, admin123. Yes, these are all dictionary attacks. So dictionary attack simply means this is not structured, but everyone knows we use this kind of structure to get, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 8, 9, 1. So any password that people could use, then let's just try and see the most used password of 2023. So I'll be sharing the link now. Yeah, can everyone see my screen? Can you all see the new list of common use password displaying on my screen, please? Yeah, so these are, I would say, the top common passwords. So this is I would say, a very good source of dictionary attack. So the person comes here, see all the kind of password that could be possibly used on the device, mostly devices that are brought off the shelf. So off the shelf simply means you go and buy, let's say, a router. It's not being made to any specification. You just get it, or your own modem. It's always a default password which is available to everyone. So one of the key things is when we get devices, or when we are setting up anything, we should try to part of the first activity and best practice is to change the password from the default password. So we could see lots of default passwords here. So again, these are just example of dictionary attack. So insider threat is harmful actions known by an authorized person in the organization. So we know, let's say Olariwaju works for, let's say Bentley, for example, and he now takes something from Bentley and goes to sell it to Rolls-Royce. So that's an insider threat because he's authorized to know that information, but because he's an employee and he feels he might see monetary value from it, he tends to go and sell it to another organization to make money for it. So in cases like this, there are different tools that are being used. So one of them is DLP, data loss prevention. So if you want to send any information out of the organization, so one of these is all USB drives on corporate devices are disabled. So you can't plug in a USB into a corporate device to get any information out. If you want to send, let's say, an email to someone, there are things that there are words, I'll say there are pre-filled words that are already in the system that if it catches a sequence of this word in your email, it should be flagged. So that's when you try sending an email, it flags that, are you sure you want to do this? And you need further authorization and things like that. So SQL injection is simply injecting malicious code into SQL query to manipulate the database. So a typical example of SQL. Does anyone know SQL perfectly? Yeah. Any SQL person in the house?
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah. So basically, SQL is to query data,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
and I just want to know
Yeah,
how they can use SQL injection
I'm
to.
bringing that out now.
Okay.
Okay, yes, I'll show you. Yeah, because again, we'll still do this in demo, but again, this is week 2, so you still need to just build on the fundamentals. Yeah, so this is a perfect SQL injection attack. So let's just go through this together. So it says username. The person puts his username. The password, the person puts his password. So for behind the query, it says like when this person puts his username, check if we have this username in our database. If we have the username in our database, check if the password imputed is equal to the or is the same as the password with that username. So let's say you say your name is Alex. So it goes to the database and say, where's Alex? We've seen Alex. Alex password is 1234. Then what did Alex input? Did Alex input 1234? Alex inputted 1234. Then it grants you access. But now, where SQL injection comes in is if the website is not properly designed, there are ways to go about it. So here it says username is 1, number 1, or 1 equals 1. And in any place, username will be 1. Oh, sorry, in any scenario, 1 will always equals 1. So if you put this username now, and we put this womb as the username, and this 1 or 1 equals 1 into the password, if the website is not properly designed, it's going to return, it might return 2 things. It might return an error code or just return or just grant you access. So what it does is it goes to the user's name and see, oh, what is Alex password? Alex password is 12345. Is that what Alex password? Is that what was imputed as Alex password? No. But in that place, we made a query statement here. So yeah, it says if this password is 1, grant me access, or the password is not 1, but it's 1 equals 1. So, and 1 will always be equals to 1. So this or statement here and this Boolean statement here, which validates 1 will always be equals to 1, will make, I'll say will make the system, if it's not properly designed, will make the SQL person or the person using that injection attack to have access to it. So that's a simple form of how SQL injection works. Do we understand that, or should I come over that again?
Please, can you come over, please?
Okay. Just a minute. I just want to copy something and paste for someone in the chat. So who said can I come over so I can use you as an example? Sorry.
Oluyemi.
So Oluyemi, give me a username and a password. Oluyemi, please.
Perfectionist.
That's too long now. Just type username, type something. Type username
Okay, what about
in the
love?
chat.
Something like love.
Yeah, just type it in the chat. Okay, let's just do in the chat. Everyone should just be looking at it in the chat. Username equals Olu. Yeah. Password equals love. So what the system does is every time it sees username equals Olu, it now goes to the username table and look at, oh, where is Olu? It says Olu. Is the password love? So if the password is love, it grants you access. Do we all understand that?
Yes.
So if the password is not love, let's say instead of love, you write dove, it doesn't grant you access because Olu and Dove are not together in the table, in like the password table. So it shows wrong password. So again, it says wrong password or username. So if you see a system that says wrong password, it shows it's not properly designed, because it's telling the person trying to break in that Olu is a verified user. I've seen Olu in the table, but the password you are inputting is wrong. That's why you see new systems that have been used to tell you username or password wrong, so that you don't know which is correct and which is wrong. Then you'll see underneath reset username or password. So, but if it says reset password, then you now know that the username is correct. Or if it says reset or reconfirm username, then you know the password is correct, that you're looking for a username to match it. So now, to do the SQL injection, we type Olu. So we type Olu, yes, that's the username. Then for the password, we type equals 1 or 1 equals 1, or 1, sorry, or 1 plus, let me just use 1, 1 plus 1 equals 2. So what this query does is, because it says the username is Olu, it goes to the Olu's table. It now goes to the password. The password is love. But what did we write there? We wrote 1. It now says, no, the password is not 1. It's love. But we see the all condition that was there. It's not like if the password is Olu, if the password is love, or 1 plus 1 equals 2, log me into Olu's account. So even though I don't know Olu's password, but because I gave it a query command that says or simply means if I know Olu's password, if I get it correct, log me in. But if I don't get it correct and 1 plus 1 equals 2, log me in. Do we get the concept now?
Yes.
I need like 2 more yeses, so I know we got the basic concept of how SQL injection works. So yeah, so that's what SQL is, just using a Boolean statement, something you know that is going to come out true, something you know is true. Is a boy a boy? A boy will always be a boy. So if you type in look for Olu and look for Olu, is Olu's password Doof? If it says no, or a boy. So it says in everywhere you go in any system, a boy will always be a boy. So that's how SQL injection works. I'm not convinced everybody or most people understand it. Can I get 2 more yes in the chat, please?
I think it will be more interesting when we simulate it. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is just for you to just have a bit, like I said, so that you know that he exists. And if you see it, you start noticing most of these things on a day-to-day basis now. But again, it's fine. So Ben says the SQL will return 1 or on, which would make the statement true as a Boolean. Yes. So what Ben said is correct. So once the password can return true, that is as simple as that. So in this kind of case, we tend to use ways to defend against SQL injection is to use input validation. Input validation simply means there are some words you cannot use as passwords. So I don't know if you've gone to some website, they say create password, you are trying to put comma, apostrophe as symbols. It's saying you cannot use it. So those are input validations there. Or it says input numbers, numbers, alphabets, symbols. Those are also input validation, that if you input only alphabets in, it will say it's not going to accept the password. Or if the password is not 8 or 10 digits long, it will say it's not going to accept the password. So that's input validation. So that's a way that I would say to defend against SQL injection. So cross-site scripting is, I'll say it's similar, but again, it's just injecting malicious scripts into web pages viewed by other users, stealing their cookies to hijack their section. So I'm trying to get a typical example of this. So you log into, you've been to a cyber cafe before. You logged into the cyber cafe, you went on your Facebook account and you just logged out and you going out. So again, someone performing an SQL injection can log back on that system, but because the cookies is still registered to you, it's still with you. With SQL cross-site scripting, that could recreate the authentication method that it will think you are still logged in, and they will have access to your data page or to your profile. So that's why it's advisable when you use public systems and you log out, try to clear the cookies on the browser, try to clear the cookies on the browser, clear all history, and make sure you properly shut down the system. Don't just log out and leave. So if it's an office system and it has multiple users, you're done with it, clear your cookies, clear your history, then click on shut down. So the system shuts down and reboots itself. So everything in the temporary memory just gets wiped away. Then if anyone wants to use it, it's going to reboot at fresh. So that's cross-site scripting. So vulnerabilities are weaknesses. So again, for a vulnerability to occur, there must be a threat. So vulnerabilities are weaknesses that can be exploited by threats to gain unauthorized access or cause damage. So they are just different types of vulnerabilities. So one of them is non-compliant system. So non-compliant system simply means we have, let's say, 10,000 systems now, and all of them are using a software that somebody just downloaded that we didn't buy, or a software that is out of date. So that's a typical example of a non-compliant system, or you using an encryption system that's not being used. Do we all let me just try and see if I can get, okay, I'll do that later. So on encryption. So if a compliance standard says, oh, every organization or every computer in this organization must be using Windows 11 and above, and I'm sure nobody here is still using Windows XP. Is anybody using Windows XP or Windows Vista? So those are things that I'd say organizations do to compile. So they update the system, they update the patches. So patches are simply I'll say lacks in security. So if there's further research has been done and they feel, oh, this system or this software could be I'll say as a threat of being acted on certain things, a patch is being released. So the patch tends to think about the threats that the system could have been facing. So one of the greatest, I would say, victim of this unpatched system is the WannaCry ransomware. So I don't know if anyone knows about the WannaCry. So the WannaCry happened in the UK, I think 2017, where all the systems in the hospitals, in the NHS, were unpatched. So they were unpatched for different reasons. Firstly, it's difficult to manage large scale, I would say, large scale compliance. It's difficult to manage large scale patching to make sure each system is up to date. And also because some of these systems are legacy and some of them have to do with certain protocols that if you patch it, the protocol might not work with it again, or the applications that it's being used for instance, X-ray might not be able to work on the newer system. So like if we go into SCADAs, like big companies, the manufacturing company, we tend to see more of old system there. So you could go there and see a Windows 2000 there. So because the system, the machine was designed to work with Windows 2000. So if you plug the machine to a laptop that has Windows 11, it might not be compatible because when they were designing the machine, it was just to work with Windows 2000. So that's where unpatched system actually comes in. But again, ways to defend against unpatched system is by segregating them in the network and making sure whatever goes in there is being filtered before it's not internet facing. Technically, that's what we can do to protect them. So unprotected system is systems without adequate security measures like antivirus or firewall. So the system is just there. Anyone can plug in anything. Anyone can download anything. The system is not being monitored. So monitored in the sense that it's not being it's not enrolled into MDE. So MDE is simply Microsoft Defender for endpoints, which monitors what activities that goes on the system. So end of life in the operating system is the day the guys that built the system says, after this time, we are no longer going to be responsible for anything. We are no longer going to provide updates. We are no longer going to provide anything relating to this thing. So another system that has received end of life recently is BlackBerry. So I know everyone like around 2010, 11, 12, the BlackBerry was there, but again, it just came to an end of life where there was nothing being supported or security updates were not being released. So if you have a Windows XP system today and you click on check on update, there's nothing it's going to see because Microsoft technically has said we are no longer responsible for this product. If you have it, try and upgrade to another product of ours, or whatever happens, try to mitigate it yourself. It's now your risk. It's not our risk again. So BYOD simply means bring your own device. So there are companies where they allow you to bring your device to work. So bringing personal device and connect it to corporate network. So some people have a special preference for laptop and laptop type. So again, if your organization has BYOD, it's easy. But again, BYOD comes with a lot of great risk. So one of the risks with BYOD is the organization has little say to what the person can actually do on the system. The organization cannot block the ports. The organization cannot technically look into the system, or I'll say encrypt the system. So on BYOD tends to work with more organizations that require virtualization. So virtualization is you log into your computer is there, you log into let's say a portal. From the portal, you start doing your work. So whatever you do during the official hours is on the portal technically, it's not on your system. So do we all understand BYOD? Am I moving too fast or is anyone lost, please?
I don't really understand the BYOD. Can you repeat?
So BYOD is you go to a company to work. They say, oh, instead of company providing laptop, they said, yeah, feel free to bring your laptop to come and work. So that's simply what BYOD is everybody, you're allowed to bring your personal device to work. There are companies that will say, we don't want to see your personal device. We'll provide you with company device. Anything you do on company device must be company related. But with BYOD, you could have your personal email up and your company email up or things. So it's now, I'll say it's more of a risk for them to say, oh, it could download the malware from his personal email, and because we are using the same system, it could propagate itself and send it out through his corporate email. So that's what BYOD simply means. So it has to go with different level of risk, and I'll say things that the organizations do. So for instance, if you want to go into remote working, it's most likely going to be a BYOD system. So what you do is you use your laptop, you log into a portal, you continue working from there. When you finish your work, you close the portal, it logs you out, you stop working. So it's more or less of a virtual machine. So virtual machine is simply replicating a machine that you could have had physically, but now technically on the cloud, on the internet. Is that understood now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So feel free to
Right.
does anyone have official phone here? An official phone, or you know anybody that has official phone? So having official phone is
Yes.
simply the company saying, we don't want your device, use our phone to make our calls, use our phone to carry out official activity. But if your company say, if you want to call the client, use your phone. So they are technically saying you can use your device to call the person. So, but you say them giving you a phone, them giving you a laptop simply means your devices, technically, we don't want you to use your devices again for company data, just for a lot of things. So if you're, for instance, let's just put a worst case scenario, your laptop gets stolen. It's easy for if it's a corporate laptop, it's easy for them to remotely wipe the system. But if it's a personal one, for them to remotely wipe the system, there's going to be a lot of I'll say breach of interest, because you say, oh, a lot of my personal data are there, a lot of my pictures are there, a lot of my records are there. You can't wipe the system. So, but again, the company is being concerned of their data. You are being concerned of your document and also your data. So that's why BYOD again, it's a bit tricky. So we'll move on to the next one. Yes, I can hear you. Is anyone talking?
What correlation does the BYOD have with AUP,
What's AUP, sorry?
acceptable use policy?
So okay, AUP, acceptable use policy. So acceptable use policy is totally different from bring your device. So acceptable use policy is your company has given you a laptop. Again, if you are bringing your device, they can't the acceptable use policy is a bit limited to what they can say. So, but again, if you are using a company's device, they could say, for instance, acceptable use policy, you must use it within the official hours. For instance, they could say you must use the system within the official hours. You are not allowed to travel out of the country with the official device. When you leave the organization, make sure you turn the device back to the organization. You're not allowed to go onto certain websites with the organizational device. So those are acceptable use policies. So that I mean, it simply means these are the things, these are the requirements they want me to fulfill, or these are the do's and don'ts I can do with their system. But if it's now your system, it's now left to you. It's difficult for them to say, don't use your system to log into YouTube, for example. Again, because they can't monitor it is a bit difficult because again, there's now a thin line between acceptable use policy and your privacy. Does that explain it out?
Very well, very well.
Okay, yeah. So malware detection. So malware detection simply identifying software that can harm your system. So again, everything we do in cybersecurity is just identifying threats, remediating, seeing how we can prevent it, and seeing how we can recover from it. So again, there are two types of malware. So one is either signature based. So signature based simply means we know this thing we know this is it. So signature based, another signature based a typical example of signature basis is malaria. Can anyone tell me like symptoms of malaria? Like we need 3 symptoms of malaria. On the
You have
chat, please.
fever, you have
Yeah, fever.
headache,
Yes. So
and
those
you
are, yeah, I
and
can
you
hear you.
have body pain.
Body. So those are signatures. So when you go to the hospital, they ask you, oh, how are you feeling? You say you have this, you have this, you have this. You say, from what you've said, you have malaria. So those are malaria signatures. So again, in malware too, we have their signatures too. You could say, oh, these when let me try and get something up. Just a second. Feel free to get a cup of water if you want. I'm just trying to get one signature out so we could all try together. Okay, I can't just get any malware one up that's not too bad. I'll get one that's not too bad and post it in the WhatsApp group. Once I have, yeah, just to I'll say too dangerous. I don't want anyone to just misuse it or just type it in a way or put it anywhere that's not being nice. So I don't want any of you to harm your system. So yeah, so but what have you can you all click on the link? I'll tell you what to do with the link later. So let's just move on. So again, signature based simply means there are no signature. We know if anything do like this, or if anything, if there's this sequence of activity being carried out, we know the signature. We know this is what it's most likely going to be, and that's it. So heuristic analysis look for common malware behavior and characteristics. The same thing, a bit similar to signature based. If it does these things or have these characteristics, we flag it as a malware, and we tend to look into it and probably remediate it. So behavior analytics is monitor the behavior of a program to detect suspicious activity. So there are programs previously that you would install, everything is fine. Then all of a sudden you restart your system, you start seeing your mouse moving up and down. But when you uninstall the program you installed, your everything tends to go back to normal. So that's more or less like a behavioral this thing. A sandbox is just used to run a signature in an environment to know what it looks like. So you could also use browse link, which I think I've shared with everyone. So we could also use browse link as a sandbox environment. It's actually a sandbox environment. AI and machine learning uses algorithm to identify new and unknown malware. So again, all these malwares all have, I'll say, their algorithm, their pattern, and how they carry out the activities. So we'll move on to the next slide. So again, ways to remove malware. So once the malware is detected, it's just best we remove it. So one is either we use so Emmanuel, behavior analysis is also linked to pen testing. So a lot of these are linked to pen testing. So what a pen tester does is also kind of you might think is I would say it works in a way malware works, but you now need to have the information because most of them use similar signatures to carry out activities. So a pen tester can say, oh, he wants to see if this signature is still susceptible to our system. So let's say this the signature's name is K145. So he could run a behavioral K145 and see if our systems fall prey for K145. So in that case, it's a pen testing activity, but our system is either we fall for it or it successfully defend itself against K145. So Emmanuel, is that understood? Okay, yeah. So ways to remove malware, antivirus and anti-malware installed on our system. Again, because they are signature based, if your malware or antivirus is not up to date and a new malware comes in, so because you've not updated it might not be able to catch it or remediate against it. Again, if it's a 0 day, it might not be able to work against it or I would say to flag it. So another one is manual removal. So manual removal simply means look for the origin, look for the file, remove it, and just and probably rebuild the system or re-image the system. System restoration, revert it to the previously, I would say previous states known. So this has to do with backups when we run our weekly or daily or monthly backup. So if anything happens, we know. So let's say you run a weekly backup every Friday. And this is an open question. You run a weekly backup every Friday, and on Monday morning, you witness a malware and you want to do system restoration. How many days worth of data or how many days worth of data has been missing? Anybody?
2.
Olariwaju said 7. You said 2. So it's 2 because the last backup was on Friday. But now let's say the last backup was on Friday and we are on a Thursday. How many days backup have we, or how many days have we lost the data for?
Well, that'd be 5 if we're excluding weekends.
Weekends, yeah, that would be 5 if excluding weekends. Yeah, but again, we put 5 or 6. So it just depends. And again, every organization has their business working days, how they count it. Some people would say it's Monday to Friday. Some organizations, let's say it's a fintech or a bank, every day is a day. But if it's an organization where you have to physically go into, let's say, a shop or a cinema or something, then the days with no online presence. So if there's online presence, traffic is still going to come in. But let's just say there's no online presence just for ease. It just has to do with, it's going to be 5, 6 days. So again, the number of days now, the time now depend on how the organization define their days. So it could be Monday to Friday, it could be Saturday to Sunday, could be Tuesday to Wednesday. They could work Monday and Tuesday and not work Wednesday. So a lot of variables are there. But again, we all get the basic concept behind system restoration. So again, restoring the OS is always, I would say, one of the last results where you just have to wipe everything out and restore it to a clean slate. So malware prevention, so preventing malware, standard, there are standard, I'll say, practices we should all know by now is keep all software up to date, enable firewalls. Again, we can't overemphasize. If we do all this, keeping the software up to date, doing our backup, installing security software, and the users are just not good. And the users, imagine you installing all this and the user keep going to a website that is very, very malicious. So even with all your efforts, it's I'll say it might, your defenses or the controls you put in place might not be so efficient. So again, educating the user is one of, I would say, it's one of the highest thing we should all do regarding securities. Educate the people using it, let them know the impact this can have on the system, it can have on the organization. So educating the user goes a long way. Again, there could be simulations on how this is done or how this could be delivered. So we'll move on to the next slide. So again, best practices is regularly scan your devices. Again, monitor traffic for those interested in SOC. Again, a lot of traffic is being monitored. So you see if there's abnormally in traffic. So a malware could go into a system, and the aim of the malware and the system is to exfiltrate data. So again, you try to see if all systems are working normally. Is there any abnormalities? You see a spike around 2 a.m. in the morning, try and investigate it. Why was there a spike there? Oh, there was pen testing being carried out. Okay, that's fine. There must be a justification for everything not in the normal. So use email filtering. Email filtering simply means we know the known bad guys, we filter against them, we block malicious attachment. Again, this has to also do with DLP. A lot of organizations, you can't send any attachment out. It's part of DLP. So it's part of you not sending DLP simply means data loss prevention. So disabling auto run. So in most cases, you can't technically install on the organization's device. It has to be an admin. So you have to take it to, let's say, tech services for them to install an application, or there might be list of already whitelisted application in your intranet where you can easily install from. Again, using the use of virtual machine for risky activities. So virtual machine simply takes all the responsibility, all the loads, all the risk away from your own system and takes it to a sandbox environment. So by following all these guidelines and more, I think we would be in a better position to protect our systems from malware. So keyloggers are more or less like they try to see what is being typed, how it's being, what the user is being typed, what hardware they are being using, what software is used. So can anyone tell me one of the easiest way to gather information about a company, about the system they are using, how secure they are, the strength of their staff, what applications, or generally their cybersecurity posture. Can anyone just tell me a very easy way to evaluate an organization on that? So one of the ways that it's easy for, I'd say, a malicious guy to evaluate an organization is by their job posting. So when an organization posts a job, that's why sometimes the job posting are just very, very vague. And I would encourage everyone, any job you see, you feel you can do 50 to 60% of it, just it, just apply. Because most companies, it's job posting is more or less showing your vulnerability. So no one wants to show their vulnerability. So everyone wants to show, oh, we are this, we are that. So they could actually, can you work with Linux, Windows? And when you get in there, you might not work with any of the Linux, Windows. But again, it's just putting the white guess for the I'll say for the malicious guys to think, what are they looking for? So you go to some organizations that use only Azure, but they'll put on the job description, we need someone with GCP, AWS, and Azure experience. Again, it's just so that the attackers can narrow down that, oh, they are just on AWS platform. You are looking for SQL developers on AWS platform. Then that narrows the kind of attack they can exploit. So again, job posting is also a very good way to know what an organization is looking for, how the organization takes security serious, and who are the top people in the organization that are the key decision makers. So, for instance, you get a job posting and it says you can contact Mike and Williams, who are the head cybersecurity unit, for further details. Again, for if I'm a phishing guy, for spear phishing, I already know Mark and Williams are the main guys, are the decision makers. It's now easy for me to coin down what their name is, and it's easy to get their name, and their name is always dot their official email address. So it's easy to send an email to them without ever meeting them. So if he says his name is Olariwaju Williams, I know, okay, Olariwaju Williams at agitalconsulting.com or .org. So again, most organization has a structural way of which their email format works. So bringing job posting, we can see how we could use job posting to get the email of the main guys or the key decision makers in an organization. So we can read on boot sector virus and crypto mining. Crypto mining has to do with more of cryptocurrency at the moment. Yes, that's what still has a lot to do about. But again, crypto is one of the leading, also one of the backbone of cybersecurity, not the currency, but crypto itself. So tools and methods. We can go through this: recovery mode, software, antivirus software, anti-malware software, software firewall, anti-phishing training, user education on common threats. So I'll say we've gone through most of these in more detail while discussing. So principles and concept of cybersecurity. So there are the main three principles, I'll say principles of cybersecurity is CIA, that's the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, but again, we have to go into other principles and other concepts also, because all of this in one way add to the confidentiality, integrity, or availability. So confidentiality just ensures that sensitive information is only accessed by an authorized person. This include encryption, access controls, authentication. So encryption is simple. Encryption is simply taking a known word, turning it into something that no one can read. So taking a known text, which is called a plain text, turning it into a ciphertext. A ciphertext is, if anyone sees it, no one knows the meaning except the person that has a key or has a decoding for what was being said. So that's what encryption is. And there are different types of encryption, but there's one, there's something we call hashing. So I'd like us to perform something real quick. Copy. So under cryptography, there's something called hashing. So, but again, since we are just talking confidentiality, yeah, so we would want to see how this can be done or how encryption actually provides confidentiality. Can everyone click on that link and type in so you would come to this page. Is everyone on this page? I'll post the link again. I need 3 more yeses. Are we on that page? So I wrote, I am a boy. I just want everyone to just copy, I am a boy. Just don't write your own, I am a boy. Just copy my, I am a boy from the chat. Copy and paste it in here. Are we there now? I need 4 more yeses, please. Okay, now let's click on generate. We will see an hash function down. Can everyone copy the hash function, the MD or the SHA-1 hash function? Just click on copy here and paste it in the chat. We should all have the same thing. Just click on copy and paste your hash function in the chat. Okay. Okay. So Emmanuel has something different. Olariwaju has something different. Did you copy from the chat or you wrote your I am a boy? Emmanuel.
I copied from the chat.
And you are getting something wrong, something different from everybody.
Oh.
Can you just do it again?
Yes. They copied
Oh, okay, copy the
M5.
okay. Oh, okay. Is the SHA-1 you should copy, please, Emmanuel? Sorry. Yes, so yeah. So everyone has gotten, yes, we are now on the where I want us to be. So now you see that the I am a boy, I kept there is a space. There is no space between A and boy. I need like 2 people to just unmute so that it's more conversational. Please, thank you.
Yes.
So let's now put a space in between A and boy and generate and see how different it's going to look. Can we see the difference? So now let's now change the boy these to smaller letters and say I am a boy. So the question now is, what we wrote before at first, I am a boy, and this I am a boy, when you are reading it, it's the same thing, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
But let's now generate it and see the difference in hash value. So what cryptography, this is simple, I'll say hash function cryptography. So what this simply shows us is, in anything we do, so let's say I get a message from Ben. Ben writes me a letter and Ben says, this is the hash value of the letter. It says this, I'm coming just a sec. Ben says, he writes me a long letter. Let me just say this was what Ben wrote to me. So for me to now know that nobody has tampered with it or nobody has I'll say changed anything there. So Ben now says, oh, when you get the message, run it through the hash generator. You should get something like this. So if I run it through the hash generator and I don't get something like this, it means someone has tampered with it, even though it is still I am a boy, the person that I still got. Do we all understand that the concept?
Please, can you come again, please?
So, okay, so we go. I'll just run the query again so we see it. Yeah, just a bit. So, who said I should run it again? So that I'll just talk to you so that we get. So, Olariwaju, you sent me a password. I'm using a password for reference purpose. The password says I am a boy. So you generated the code. You now sent me this code too. You now said, oh, that if I get the code, the I am a boy, that I should put it, that if I get the secret word, I should put it in the MD5 generator, that I will get this hash value. So this hash value is not reversible. Simply means two words technically cannot have the same value. So if when I'm getting I am a boy, this is what I got, it's still I am a boy. But when I generate it, it's different from the initial value which Olariwaju sent to me. So that means someone has tampered with it, or it simply means someone has tampered with it. That was not the original thing being sent by Olariwaju. Then I look at the value and I tell him now someone has tampered with it. That the hash value I'm getting is totally different from the one you sent. Do we get the concept?
I don't get it. Is it not?
Okay.
Is it not different because the sentence is different as well?
Yes, that is different because the sentence is different. So what it simply means is even the slightest change, even if we take, let's take, can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
So let's take this very long, I'm coming. This very long sentence here and put it into here and just delete it. We'll paste it, we generate the hash value. Again, the hash value is always the same, no matter how long. So even if we write 84 pages, the hash value is still going to be the same. It's not going to be longer than this. So now on this hash value, we have, it's ending with 4099. So let's all note 4099. So you send me a very long letter. You say this is the hash value 4099, ending with 4099. However, when the message was coming, Emmanuel read it. And Emmanuel just said, well, I don't like this capital letter. Let me use small letter. It's still the same message. He only tampered with a thing, or Emmanuel didn't even tamper with this. He left it and added space here by mistake. He didn't know. If I generate this, should the hash value remain the same or it should change?
It will change.
It will change.
Change.
So we'll now check it now. It's not the 099 again, it's now 1961. So that means we can now say, oh, this message, even though it is the same physically that we can see, but again, with the hash value, we can see it has already changed. That means someone has tampered with it. So again, that's how on the kind of concept encryption works. So it shows you how powerful encryption is. All these words are just being technically made into this sha value. This sha value, no matter what we write, is still going to be the same length. So if we copy this and put it into the chat, sorry. I put it into the chat. It's the same length. Now let's delete everything. This. Oh, that's my string. So let's delete everything and just leave A and generate for A. So it's not going to give me something shorter. It's still going to give me something of that same length. So we'll put that into the chat also, into the chat. So you can see, regardless of the number of words, the number of letters, your sha value will always be the same length. So it's difficult to say whether it's a one word, whether it's 1,000 page, or whether it's just 5 letters.
Okay, so this is the purpose.
Yes, that's the purpose. To just verify what this person sent, no one tampered with it, is actually what the person sent. So again, this is just I would say this is just a simple demo to know how the back end works when you are doing like a cryptography and you are doing SHA values and stuff like that. But again, you would I think you would understand the concept better. But can everyone see that what I just want you to take out of this is if no matter how minute the alteration is, the value is going to change. And that's how we kind of rate confidentiality and see, is this being confidential? Has this been is the integrity being changed? Integrity simply means don't want to tamper with it. So your data could be confidential, but the integrity might not be there. Could have integrity, could have availability, and not have confidentiality. So again, all these are just it could have one and not have the others. It could have the others and not have one, or it could have three of them. So let's just move. So that's just a bit of how encryption works on the SHA value side of it. So again, just it's nothing to bother yourself much about, but just know that encryption, if it is this and something changes, it's going to be totally different. So two things are not technically going to have the same thing, but if it would change anything along the line, it's going to change the output is going to be totally different. So access control is simply restricting information based on users' role and permission. So access control can be role-based, can be discretional, can be mandatory, which we'll go into in more details. But again, a typical example of access control is if you are working in marketing, you don't need to have access to accounting's details. If you are working in accounting, you don't need to know what they are doing in the factory floor. So that's simply what access control means is whatever you're doing, you have access to what you're doing. You don't need to have access to what other people are doing. So the controls we put in place are what we use as access controls. The authentication is verifying a user by means like password, biometrics, multi-factor authentication. So authentication simply means verifying this is you, this is what you have. Authentication and authorization simply means, oh, we've seen the credentials the person provided. It's all right. So with this authentication being used, these are the kind of actions the person can carry out. So for instance, in access control, you log into a system. So when you log into, you authenticate into a system, then the authorization sets in and says, oh, this is Mr. Bayo. He only has access to the HR platform. So let's show him what. No, you can't use Samsung. You can't use the code to get the text back. It's not possible. So you can't use the code to get the text back. So that's just the interesting thing about it. So you can't decrypt that code again. Samsung, do you understand? So yeah, so that's what yeah. So access, so you authenticate, then you know what access you have on this particular system. So integrity ensures that information is accurate and unaltered. So another thing we could use SHA for is integrity. That's hashing is integrity. So if anything has been altered, even if a space has been I'll say has been added to whatever text or document being sent across, the SHA-1 or the MD5 itself is going to be totally different. So hashing is generating a unique hash value for data, which changes if the data has been altered. So what the little lab we just did is simply hashing. So how do you encrypt the data? We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. So there are still different encryption techniques method to use. So this is hashing. So hashing is just a one-way function which cannot be reversed. So if we put a data into the hash generator, only that kind of data, only that would generate that value. So digital signature provides a way to verify the authenticity and integrity of this digital message or document. So if we go into our website browser, let me try and pull one up. Yeah, so when we come here, let me see, let's open a website. yeah, you come here, you will see the digital signature, your connection is secure, certificate is valid. So all these would give you the details. SHA-256 of the website. It gets you the details. So again, it's just the signature, it's just the signature that validates it's coming from this particular user, and it's not being coming from someone else. So that's what digital signature is. So every digital signature has like a certificate to it. So the certificate is what gives out the digital signature. So digital signature is more like your signature when you signed a paycheck or something that shows this is the person that signs it. So checksum use mathematics algorithm to verify data during transmission. So checksum simply means if, let's say, 3,000 packets are being sent, how many is being received, and how are we going to account for the one? Sorry, I'm just trying to read the chat from Ayo. How do we know if the information has not been tampered with since the SHA-1 tag changes often? So the SHA-1 doesn't change. If you write let me just go back to so Ayo doesn't just get confused. Ayo, are you with me? Are you able to unmute yourself, please?
Yes.
Okay, so give me a word, a three-letter word that's very easy so that you get the concept.
Bad. EAD.
EAD.
Yes.
What's this EAD?
BAD.
Anyways.
Bad.
Oh, okay, bad. BAD, yes. So now, bad, if we generate bad, again, when everybody generated the same word I sent, everybody had the same value. That shows, regardless of the system you are using, regardless of where you are, it's not going to change. But if I change bad to small letter bad, so we can say this is 65C2. So even let's just change this back to bad. I still write BAD. I should still get the same code back, 65C2. But if I change a bit there and just make it, let's say I write the bad with small letter here and generate it, it's going to give me a different code. So even if the word does not change technically, but there's an alteration in the original input or how it was imputed, the SHA is going to change.
Yeah.
Do you understand, Ayo?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry everyone for just going back. I was just looking at the chat and I saw that. So integrity is another key thing. So integrity simply means, is this what is this would they say they are? Is this actual document being sent across? Availability just ensures that the resource is available to the authorized user at when due. So availability has to do with, for instance, if you have a network on your phone and there's no service on it. So that shows the availability there is down. So availability ensures that information and resources are accessible to authorized users when needed. So key practice is redundance. Redundance simply means we get backup systems. So because our system is being corrupted, we can't tell our customers that, oh, our system is being corrupted. You have to wait 3 more days for our system to come up. So we have to practice things that will make sure our availability is very high. So a typical case of high availability and low availability is when you go to an ATM machine, you try to withdraw today, there's no money there, or it's out of service. You go tomorrow, out of service. If it goes for a particular point in time, it gets to a point in time, you don't even go to that place again. So what has happened is the reputation of that machine has been damaged. You just don't believe the machine is there again. And that's just it. So availability, one of the key things with availability is if your availability is poor, you have a poor brand record, you could lose customers to competitors. So if you're boasting of giving customers, let's say 5G connection 24 hours a day, and every day for like 5 hours, the customers are witnessing poor section. Let's say they are getting 3G, and these customers are people that watch Netflix. it should get to a time they'll move to another ISP service provider that can provide them 5G network to support their Netflix that they are watching over the period of time at any time. So they are not going to say, I'm going to watch Netflix 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. You said you are going to be available all time, all the time, round the clock. So at any time they get in there, they don't want to know, they are not interested in knowing you've been up for 24 hours and you're just down for 5 minutes. They are not interested in knowing that. They just want to make sure every time they click on it, it's actually available. So the disaster recovery plan is just preparing you to go back to to take you back to the unknown state. So again, this has to just do with maintaining availability, making sure even if the disaster happens, how are you going to go back? So the disaster recovery plan, there's a plan in place that you go through steps on how to go back to your I'll say to your operational phase. So there are different plans we could do under disaster recovery. There's the table test, there's the tabletop exercise, there's the checklist paper, there's the full interruption, there's the partial interruption, there's the parallel test. So parallel test simply means we have a backup site running and we try to take off our main site and see if we can sustain our service with the backup site. Parallel, so that's parallel. Then full backups, I mean full disaster is we take off our site and see how quick we are able to go back. Partial is we take off half and see how we can use our recovery plan to support the remaining half. So again, regular maintenance also ensures availability. So we could use in this context cars. If you regularly maintain your car is going to be reliable, it's going to be available for you every time. But if you don't maintain it or you don't look after it, at times it's just going to I'll say just give up and not work. So accountability ensures that the action is being traced back to the person, to the actual person there. So again, how do we conduct accountability? We have audit logs. So audit log simply means could consist of different logs. It's just simply records of activities being carried out. So it could be your network log, any log. So log simply means all the record of activities being carried out. So for instance, if we say, oh, who accessed X and Y Z website, it's easy to go through the network log to see which system and which user actually went on that website. Non-repudiation simply means ensuring a sender cannot deny he sent the message or he did carried out the particular action. So if you log into your system with your username and your password and you verified MFA, you did everything, and you uninstall something from your production environment, again, because all credentials and all tools or all things being used points at you, it's now very difficult for you to say, oh, you didn't do it. Against if a system is an open system that anyone could use. So again, non-repudiation, your username, password. That's why if you ever leaving your computer desk at any point in time, make sure you log out. Make sure you do you log out from your system, because if anyone works or carries out any activity on your system while you are still logged in, you have the responsibility for that. User activity monitoring is just tracking activities to see if the user is doing everything he normally do. So Ayo logs in from, let's say, from Lagos every day, and on a Tuesday morning, Ayo logs in from San Francisco. So again, you kind of see, how did you get to San Francisco? Are you meant to be working in San Francisco? So again, these are just user activity monitoring. You just tend to look at if there's any abnormalities in the activities being carried out. So risk management involves identifying and assessing and mitigating the risk. So for any risk management to be successful, the first thing we need to do is we need to understand our assets. We need to understand what we are trying to protect. We need to understand what we have and what we are doing. So risk assessment is evaluating everything we have and say, oh, these are the vulnerabilities we have. Risk mitigation is simply putting in solutions or mitigating the risks or the vulnerabilities we find. So we could mitigate risk in different ways. So it's either we accept the risk and say, oh, yes, we would accept this. We avoid it and say, no, we are not going to do that. We'll transfer it. So transferring the risk simply means we are getting insurance for it. Or mitigating it simply means we apply a solution to it and see if the solution works, or try and reduce it to an acceptable to an acceptable risk for us. Continuous monitoring simply means every time, make sure you're continuously monitoring your system, looking into your security posture, seeing if there's any new flaws, seeing if there's any new risk being identified. So defense in-depth simply means every layer or every time we are doing our design or anything, we should design it from the beginning to the end. So the defense in-depth simply means multiple layers of defense. So layer security using a combination of physical, technical, and administrative controls to protect a device. Network segmentation, dividing network into different segments to limit the spread of the attack. So if for instance an attacker gets into our network, it should not be able to flow literally through every system. There should be segments. There should be stop blockers. So there's not all these organizations, device or assets shouldn't be on one network. It should be segmented into different networks. So to avoid I'll say lateral movement and to avoid total disruption of services. So security policies establish guidelines and procedures for security practices. So policies are things that would establish guidelines that these are things you can do. This is how you should carry it. This is ways you can do. So there are policies, there are standards, there are frameworks. We'll go all more into that very soon. So incident response simply means an incident has occurred. What are we going to do? How are we going to remediate it? What are the next steps of action we need to carry out? So again, it's incident response involves the preparation, detecting, and responding to a security incident. Incident response plan is a plan that says, so for instance, an incident response plan could be if there is fire in the building, how do we want everyone to continue working? So if it says, there's fire in the building in the London office, everyone will need to move down to the Cambridge office. So that's an incident response plan. It shows that we've thought about if this thing happened, what should we do next? If let's say there's a riot in town, everyone should continue working from home. That's a incident response plan. That means for every incident we've actually think of or thought of, we've actually come and drafted a plan on how to mitigate it. So detect and analyze is like monitoring the system. It still has to do with continuous monitoring and continuous monitoring and development. Contain, eradicate, and recovery. It's when an incident happens, the first thing we need to do is we contain it. So contain simply means we avoid further spread or further damage that the system could get from that. Eradication simply means, are we going to re-email the system? Are we removing it? What are we doing? Are we just isolating the system totally? Then recovery simply means taking back the system to when to a pre-state before the incidents happen. So taking back the system or taking back everything we do back to a state before a pre-incident state simply means taking it back to how it was initially. Security awareness training is more, I would say, it's still the benchmark of cybersecurity in an organization, because if the people we are trying to protect are not protecting us, or if the organization is not being protected, if the organization is being protected, but the people using the asset or guiding the asset are not properly trained or don't know the risk involved with what they are doing or the action they are being carried out. It's still, again, no security control is perfect. Again, so user education is always very needed. So user awareness and training ensures that all users understand their role in maintaining security. So simply means, and security is everyone's business. You coming into the office, there's someone trying to target you, tell them, go and swipe your ID card or get the security guy to authenticate or to validate if they're actually genuine staff or they work in that organization. User education provides training on recognize and responding to security threats like phishing. So user education it pinpoints you to user education pinpoint to a particular threat being seen. User training is more or less that, we need you to have this knowledge just because it could happen anytime. So security policies and procedures communicate policies and procedures to all users. So all your security policies simply means do not put unauthorized, I'll say, software into the system. Do not jailbreak the system. Do not take the system out to external vendors for repair. So those are the things that you have to put into your security awareness training. How the users can probably raise tickets if they are witnessing anything on their system. So regular drill and exercise simply means you just tend to test your users. So one of the ways this has always been done is sending out a demo phishing email to see how many people are going to click on it. So for instance, if a user click on it or someone clicks on it, what the person might be, they could send the person for further training. So again, every organization has a threshold. So if you click on it 5 times, you go for further training. If you still continue clicking on it, you might have to, I'll say, stop you from carrying out major activities until you see, till we see you are no longer at risk to the organization. And the ultimate one is if they see the user is not just getting it, and the organization is one that is highly targeted for phishing, the user might be let go or his role might be changed to a more subtle one that would not have such threats in there. So compliance and legal issues, we all know compliance is a very big game. There are lots of laws, lots of standard, lots of I would say regulations. As cybersecurity professionals, we need to adhere with. So each policy has its own sector. So for instance, GDPR is more of data privacy, and it's a bit, GDPR is more location. So GDPR is more of the UK standard. So if you're in the US, GDPR doesn't apply to you. But if your company is a US-based company, but as customers in the UK, GDPR applies to you. EPA is more of an health. Then PCI DSS is a payment card industry. So if you use any payment card, like, so PCI DSS was put together by MasterCard, Visa. So they are the ones that came together and said, oh, we need to do a standard for people using payment card or for companies using payment card. So if your company does payment card or accepts payment card, they have to comply with PCI DSS. So PCI DSS is one of those laws. So they are the laws, I'll say the policies have guidelines, requirements, and things you must do if things don't happen. So security standards, one of them is ISO 27001, which has about 114, I'll say, controls. So again, you pick which one applies to your organization. Not everything will apply to your organization, depending on what you do, how you do it, and the sector you are in, the country you are in. So again, you pick the one that best applies to your organization. And most times when this is done, you'd have an external auditor come verify that yes, you've done all that applies to you, then you get certified. So you could see a company saying, oh, they're ISO 27001 certified, they're ISO 2000 or something certified. So there are lots of ISO. So ISO simply stands for International Standard Organization. So it could be ISO regarding food safety, ISO regarding building construction. So lots of different ISOs. So you saying your organization being ISO compliant simply means lots of third parties can trust them, customers can trust them. And again, it's always easy. It's better to push the company in a very good light to say they've gone through all the standards, of gone through all the requirements being set by organizations or standards. So legal consideration is just understanding the legal aspect of what we do. So another career part is cyber law. So cyber law is just looking into the laws of the land, the laws of cyber, and how it could be incorporated into one another. So one of them is, I don't know if everyone has seen the TikTok owner was being questioned by I think the Senate in America. So again, that's a lot of legal consideration. So again, cybersecurity and legals, yeah, I'll say 5 and 6, because for everything you do, there's always someone claiming something else. So imagine threats and technology. So as of today, there are just lots of, threats and new technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain. So these are blockchain, quantum computing. So things like that. Those are, I'd say, new technologies that are just coming into the market. They've been in for a while, but again, their potentials are still very, 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 very much. So again, staying involved, staying informed about all these new technologies and emerging threats and technologies is also good for cybersecurity guys. So threat intelligence simply means gathering and analyzing information about emerging threats, proactively defending against them. So threat intelligence simply means getting all information from anywhere, could be from source, could be from blog, could be from the news. So it's just getting information to see if your organization is susceptible to that. So that's threat intelligence. Then threat hunting simply means there's a threat there, you're trying to go and look for it. So threat intelligence is the gathering. Threat hunting is you going out actively looking for. So technology adaptation is evaluating and adopting new technologies into your already existing environment for competitive advantage. So if you see that, oh, if we integrate, let's say, ChatGPT into our customer service the queue bot now, the way it's going to answer questions by people is going to be more dynamic, it's going to be faster. We can do it we don't need to get 20 customer service reps again. We can, with the use of AI, we can get 5 customer service reps to still perform that action they are being carried out. So again, you see what technology you can use to improve your I say your efficiency. Another is cloud computing, to see how we could use cloud computing to how we could harness the power of cloud and increase productivity. So, for instance, companies that use cloud computing, one of them is Netflix. So, Netflix, most of all of Netflix instance is based on cloud computing. So, where anytime you're watching anything on Netflix, you're actually logging into Netflix account on AWS servers or on Amazon server. So, Netflix don't have their own premises where they do things. So unlike before, where if you want to watch a movie, you have to go get a CD, rent a CD or buy a CD, but now you can just watch it instant, so it's on demand. So what it simply means is Netflix can only buy, let's say, a copy of James Bond, and because of it's on the cloud and they can replicate it, they can serve 10,000 customers at the same time. Unlike when they were not on the cloud, where there's no cloud service, where if you want to serve 10,000 customers, you need to buy 10,000 cities. So that's emerging technologies using the cloud to advantage. And again, research and development, every company, every organization, and every cybersecurity professional should all spend a lot of time in research and development. So research and development, again, you go to conferences, seminars, read, I say, paper blogs, and I think there are other more trustworthy websites I'll be sharing with you in the future. Good professional bodies like ISC Square, ISACA, or WAPS, read their white papers, see what's trending, see what's coming up. So those are ways that we can stay up to date with the new, with the ever-changing field of cybersecurity. Thank you. Sorry, I had to just rush a bit. So, but I hope everyone understood the concept and everything that was being delivered. Does anyone have a question, or do you want me to just review any particular part in 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 person, or anyone in question? Did you ask Derek any part that you say, oh, you want to do this? Again, you can feel free, go through this slide. If there's anything you feel you don't understand, just drop it in the WhatsApp chat. Again, I'll definitely look into it and get back to you then. Yeah, but again, for next week, I'd make sure I drop the lecture note before Thursday or Friday, so that you can have a view of it, because then we are going to start going into more in depth, so that you can have a view of it, have an initial read, have a pre-understanding. So when we are going in the class, you start challenging and say, oh yes, this is where I thought about it. Then we can start bringing point of view, because again, as cybersecurity professionals, there's no wrong answer, there's no right answer. Everybody's view is valid. So we all need to work together and say, okay, this is how I see it. Could it be done this way? Could it be done that way? Yeah, so that's all from me. Is there anything from anyone? Is there anything you want us to address? Or is there anything that you want me to take notes down for next class, so that we can all review before then?
Excuse me, do we have these slides already, or you will
Yes,
send me?
I already dropped it in the chat, but I would drop it again. So It's I just named the update just because I included more things from yesterday. So it's
Okay.
in the I've dropped it in the chat now.
Yeah, my question is, can you get update on your network?
Network, which network? So just can you just explain a bit?
Network you are using.
I don't understand. Can you please just
The network you are using for the Zoom meeting.
yes. Yeah, I'm getting update for it, yes. But I'm still a bit not sure what you mean by update. Is it when someone posts, do I see it?
No, so that we can be hearing you clearly, and when you want to post a video during the class, we can see
Oh,
you.
okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. I'll look into that. Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry if there was any time you didn't hear me, but again, if there's any time you didn't hear what I said, or if you I should go a bit slower, please just say it. Please just say it. It's my job here is to serve you, so it's not like I have anywhere I'm running to. So if we spend 2 days
I
on just
thought you were referring to what happened yesterday.
okay, yeah, yesterday. So what happened yesterday? It's a very long story. So I went out with my laptop, but I didn't go with my charger. I thought the charger was in the bag. So when I set up, the charger just went off, and the other spare charger had just didn't work. So I had to use an alternative system. So that's what happened yesterday. So sorry, yesterday is not going to happen again, and we can all testify today was a bit far better than yesterday. So apologies for yesterday, but yeah. So, but is there anything that happened yesterday
Yes, sir.
you want me to review? Okay, so I can just take
Hello?
notes for next week. Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Yemi Eton. I've got two issues here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I wasn't available for the class yesterday,
Okay.
and that's the nature. Even today, I have to do 1 hour drive while listening to the lecture. Now, I've requested earlier that we should be having this recorded lecture the same day, not waiting for the second day. Like what happened yesterday, I was awake all night. I would have loved to go through it in the night, right? But I have to wait. And by the time it came in, I was already asleep.
Okay.
So which means I couldn't have opportunity to go through the lecture before today. So I've got a similar course like this when I was doing my DBA. And I remember within 1 hour we finished the lecture, right? We have this recorded version straight away because it's fresher when you go through it within 2, 3, 4 hours. So, which means now that what you taught yesterday, I haven't got time for it because by the time I got home this morning around 9 o'clock UK time, tired, asleep. So I only have like 4 hours to sleep and back on the motorway. So I don't know what happened yesterday. But if we can be getting the same like what we've taught today now, right? Yes. I will post it out within the next hour or two. I'm going to be awake all night because of the time difference. Then I can as well go through it and get ready for it like tomorrow. That's my first question. Then my second question, I was trying to register for this CC. Apparently it came up with charge about £187. And I remember you said it's supposed to be free.
Yes, it's free. I think someone already posted how to I think God's Delight posted how to register for it for free. So I think if you watch the video,
I went through it. Yes, that's when I went
still
through.
the same? Yeah.
Still
Was
the
it
same,
still
yes.
the same?
Yes.
Okay, I would say give it 48 hours and we'll try. Again, if it doesn't work out, just send a message on the chat saying it didn't work out, then we could look into it. But again, it's happened before with I'll say another cohort where the tribe. Did you enroll on the course?
I did, of course. I've got the membership number now.
Yeah, so
actually, as I'm talking to you now, I'm trying to do it again.
So you click on CC, you enroll on the course then, but when you enroll, it's not immediately that you go and register for the exam. Again, they could say previously they could say finish the module to some certain stage, but I don't think that's the case again.
Oh, okay.
But again, I would verify if you have to do certain completion before you register. But again, I don't think that's the case. But again,
Having
if
said that,
yeah,
I'm listening.
so again, but in the next 48 hours, if it doesn't come to, if you cannot register, I will just note it down and see if there are more people so that we could all go through it. I'll say first thing next week so that everyone's on the same page. But again, I would want to advise everyone should have like a new email address just for your certification and job application because it's easy to track it that way. It's easier to track it that way. And your old email address, you might have used it for something on IS6 Square before that you don't remember. That might be the reason why this is doing that. So again, opening an email address, a new one, is just going to put everything on a clean slate. So if you've not registered and you can do that, making the email address just a bit more professional so you can use it for certifications. So you know all your certifications are this email address. It's just a bit easier that way.
Okay. Could that be because I've used it on cloud before, Azure?
No. It has nothing to do with cloud. It has nothing to do with that. So, but again, let's just wait 48 hours. If it doesn't change, then we'll all review. Again, it could just be normal glitch on ISC Square side. So again, you just need to give it 48 hours because even if you send the customer service, let's say a query or something or FAQ, it might still take up to 48 hours, but by that time, it's already been resolved. So we'll just give it a bit of time. Yeah, but again, if it doesn't do by Tuesday, Wednesday, just drop a chat. Just drop in the chat that you still have issue with your ISO Square and we'll pick you up from there.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it. I'm just
actually about 5 minutes ago, I was going through it. There's a place that says free accreditation site, and I clicked on it, but unfortunately, the lecture was coming to an end, so I had to stop it so that I could listen to you.
Okay.
I sent, sorry, Mr. Bayo. I sent the link into the group. It shows you step by step how you can register it for free. So
who am I talking to, please?
This is Oluyemi.
Okay. Because also Stan just said in the chat that he was also registered. Samsidin too. So there are 2-3 people in the chat that have said they've registered for free. So I think just give it a bit of time and just refresh it and go through it again. Yeah, so it might just be a glitch on their side. And and again, when you're doing it, just clear your cookies on your or delete all histories. So just see how that could also help.
Okay, thank you very much. But crucially, I would prefer you can be having this recorded lecture every 2-3 hours after the lecture, please.
Yeah, I would send that across to the admin immediately. So I'll tell them that now. All right, no problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there any other question?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Good evening, sir. Mr. Ibrahim.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, there's no sir. Just say good evening. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, sir. I think you are still holding us 2 materials. The one from last week Saturday, Guide to Cybersecurity Careers, and
yes,
and the cybersecurity world domains, so we can know what we are up to some extent. Understand?
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for that. I actually had some of it open, so I'll just post some of them in the chat now. Just for these were not the ones I actually had in mind to give you. These were the ones I saw this week, and I saw that these are very good. But I would send the other ones across to you. So just hold on. So these are ones I'd also want you to if you have time, these are just websites that you can go to and see.
All right. And also, I think I want to share an experience. This is a cybersecurity class. I do experience some things. My Twitter account, like 2 weeks ago now, I used to receive an email that someone is trying to log in to my Twitter account, and then my X account, that someone is trying to log into my X account and to pop up a code for me. to my email, so that maybe I don't know what to do. Maybe I should use the email. I should use the code I should confirm the code if I'm the person. But
just confirm.
You know, I will just ignore it. I will not confirm. I don't know what I can do to that.
So first thing I think you should do is you should go and change your password again, because what that simply means is probably someone already knows your password. So I think yesterday when we used the FS Secure to see if you've been in any breach.
Yeah. I think I saw. Yes.
Were you
that
in
was
any
last
breach?
week. It wasn't. It was last week.
Okay, last week were you in any breach?
Yes, I was.
So that could
about 15.
So now you're talking. So that could probably. So what they are trying to do is just password spraying, which simply means the breach you've been in, probably the username and the password is still the same thing you're using on the X account, and they are just trying it everywhere. So again, just try and change the password, and again every three months, please just make it an habit of changing the passwords. Yes, every three months. So I'll send the other documentation to the WhatsApp group. But again, the links, I think Samson is doing a great job and posting it in the Ibrahim, sorry, has posted it in the chat.
In the chat, so everybody can have access to that.
Yes. So it's just something you don't need to make any decision now, but just having it at the back of your head, pictures will start building. You start understanding how it fits you, where you find interesting, or where you think you can function at best. So again, where you find interesting might just be of interest to you, and you might not actually, I'll say, excel in that field that much. So you might find something that you just know this one naturally, but you find the other one interesting. So you now know that you have two things you can measure, and you have where you can dive into. So yes, so that's it. Is there any other question or contribution for today? All right, I would like to say a big thank you to everyone for your continuous contribution. It's an honor to serve you, and we'll meet again next week same time. Everyone have a lovely weekend. If during your week you find anything interesting or anything abnormal, or just as we are raising more cyber security awareness with everyone now, and you start seeing things, feel free to bring it to the class so we can all discuss. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.